Hey everyone, Nathan back here again, as always. So today I wanted to talk about relationships and love, or in the finer sense, like how should we pursue loving someone relationally, and how should we love? That's basically what I'm going to talk about in this video. So I want to say that I'm no expert on this. I'm not married, neither do I have children to love, neither do I have a wife to share that love with, but I think that nonetheless, the Bible has a very hot topic about love and how we should go about pursuing a love relationship. And I want to start with the fact that I think that not everyone needs to be married in their life. Some people, God has said that they are not going to be married. Jesus said that if you can accept that message, then accept it. But that doesn't mean that everybody's going to accept it. If you want to get married, get married. If you don't, don't. But you know, it should never be out of selfish ambition that we either want to or not get married. It should never be out of the selfish heart that we have within us. I have a selfish heart. I think that we all do, and it's hard to explain why we want things that we want, and it's not easy to understand what God wants with our lives sometimes. But I can tell you that Jesus has a good plan for your life, and that he wants you to be happy, and he wants you to be blessed in life. He wants you to have an abundant life. But what does that look like? What does that look like in relationships? I think that a lot of times, they say that 50% of marriages in the U.S. end in divorce. And I think that a little bit of that probably has to do with the fact that not very many people know how to love anymore. So if I asked you what love is, you'd probably say, well, it's whenever two people really like each other. And that's okay. It's an okay definition, but I would say that that points to a strong connection to God because God is love. That's what it says in the Bible. And let me tell you, this has been so distorted. Think of all the lust in society. Think of all the exploitation of sexual nature. Think of all the love songs that say, I don't know, like, I want to kiss you. I want to hold your hand. I want to, I don't even know, anything that involves being romantically intimate before being emotionally and being actually united under God's marriage. Um, why is it such a bad thing, you may ask? Well, Jesus said, whoever looks at a woman, whosoever lusts after a woman commits adultery within his heart in Matthew. So practically, lust is like committing adultery. You see, we're married, but we're not married even when we are married. We're married to God or Satan. Like, God is our partner or Satan is. So either you choose one or the other. So that's the original marriage. And when you choose Satan, you're committing adultery against God. You see, we were made in God's image. And that's why it's a sin to do all these things. And that's why it makes us sad in the end to do all the things that go against God. Because God doesn't want us to do them. They're against his image. It creates a new image called self. And self is not new at all, actually. It's just, in reality, Satan cloaked up as a fun disguise. And, I'm not perfect in this. Know that I'm not, for sure. I have committed sin. I have lusted. There are plenty of things that I remember that changed my life. And one of those was realizing that it's the devil who causes that in our hearts. Satan has distorted that part of relationships. He wants us to think of the physical. He wants us to think of all the ways that we could benefit from this relationship. Or whoever, if someone trusts you, it's hard sometimes. Now, what's another thing that Satan tries to do in relationships to get us away from God's image of a relationship? Well, you see, there's a verse in the Bible that says, cast all your cares on the Lord, for he is faithful. Or cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. Those are Psalms 55:22 and 1 Peter 5:7. And this is one part that I go through every day in looking at relationships and looking at these things. A lot of us don't know who we are. A lot of us are really confused about who we are And why can't I just be naturally flowing? Why can't I just say something and not have to think about it beforehand? Why can't I just be myself? And a lot of people get this involved in relationships, like, they love me and I'm so cool and my personality is awesome. But you see, you're not the one who created your personality. God created your personality. God created your soul. So what God wants you to do is just to cast your cares on Him. If you don't do this, you'll find yourself nervous when talking to those you love. You'll find yourself in a place where you don't know who you are. You'll find yourself in a place of hurt and anger and bitterness if you do not do this. Because God wants to help you through your relationships. But you cannot live on your own. You cannot make it on your own. Satan wants you to be apart from God so that you cannot get the good things that God has planned for you. So emotionally, it's important that both parties cast all their cares on the Lord, for He's faithful. Because the devil wants you to be selfish about love and selfish about people, and he wants you to be like, I don't know, he wants you just to covet anything that they have, or covet anything that has to do with them. He wants you to lose sight of the truth, which is that God will care for it all if you just let Him, and He'll be faithful with it. So that's important, and I have to learn that again every single day. And it's not easy, but it's well worth it. Thirdly, I think that whenever we pursue someone, it should not be out of lust or beauty, and it should certainly not be because, something in your heart says that it's meant to be, and it's the most perfect relationship. There's no such thing as the perfect person. Yes, God puts us with people, but the truth is that love does not start with the person. You want to know who puts love in your heart? It's God. God puts love in your heart. Not lust. Don't get it confused. And God certainly does not put bad things in your heart, because if it was bad things, it would not be from God. But God puts love in the heart of people. Personally, I experience a love that is impossible to understand, but it's something that, even though that I may not feel something anymore, I still experience a love. I could be having the worst day in the world, but I still feel that love in my heart, because love is God, and love is not a feeling. Love is not a feeling. Remember that. When you say that you don't love someone anymore, really it's just saying, I don't feel anything anymore for you. And too many times people fall for that. Too many times people are like, I've done everything I've wanted with you. I'm done with you. I've used you to the fullest. A lot of people don't like to say it that way, but it's true. People use others, and that's not what love is for. Love is supposed to be a beautiful thing, but we have distorted it to make it somewhat of a exchange, if you will, of money or currency, or just of give and take. Like, you want to take everything, but you don't want to give anything. And this creates a lot of problems in real life because it never benefits anyone whenever we try to be selfish in our relationships. So if you take anything away from this video, take away that relationships are not meant to be selfish. They are not meant to be run by you. They're meant to be run by God. And when it looks like something's hopeless, don't give up. God can help you, and God can provide faithfully for you. When things are looking down, don't fear, because God is with you. And trust it from me. There have been times in my life where I never thought that something could happen, and then God made it happen. And it was a beautiful thing, because God is faithful. And it's something that's unexplainable by natural proceedings. So, in the end, relationships are meant to benefit God. They're meant to be a form of unison that is a picture of God's unison with us. And it's not easy, and I don't have everything about it, but just remember this. The devil wants to take away what God wants to give you. Remember that you must trust in the Lord, that you must resist the devil, and he will flee from you, as it says in James. And just remember that love is not selfish, that love is kind, love is patient, and love is God. So God is love. So understand that when you embody God, and when you embody God's image for you, love will flow from you. And you may not understand what I'm saying now, But in the long run, you will understand that this is the only way to live and the only way to truly love someone. And God will show you that person if you ever need to. But just do not resist God, and God will continue you. And I'll see you guys later. Have a great day or night wherever you are. Goodbye.